This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and we are so close to hitting the sponsorship goal that we have in the link down in the description down below. Very, very close. If you guys can and you want to help out the channel, it doesn't cost anything for you to download the game. Just use my link in the description. Head on over there, play through the game, at least get through the tutorial. It does really, really help out the channel, so I appreciate anybody that can go ahead and spend a little bit of time on that. You're going to get a bunch of free stuff that comes along with it. We talked about it in the last video, so definitely head on over there. We're really close to hitting that goal, and it would mean a lot to me if you guys can help out. If not, I understand, but it just takes a few minutes to head on over there and check out the link. Thanks. What is up, guys? Again, NotTheWorst here, bringing another Black Desert online video. And although we don't have patch notes available just yet, since we are waiting for the service transfer for NAEU, servers will not be live until 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. I imagine we'll have some patch notes around then or slightly before. Until then, we can take a look at the latest round of Global Lab updates that happened just before last weekend. There were some pretty cool things I wanted to talk about, so good day to kind of fill in for that. First up, Node War UI change, as well as some bug fixes and tweaks. Nothing super major with the revamp of it. There are, if you don't already know, going to be some Kama Sylvia territories being brought into it. We saw this introduced on the Global Labs a few weeks prior to it heading up. And then aside from that, the actual content of it has a reorganization. At the time of the Alliance, only the guild leader of the Lord Guild has been changed to be able to use the chief exclusive shop after the node war ends, and total number of cannon stations that can be installed at each node has been changed to be limited to 6. Now, what prompted me to want to talk about this a bit is the really interesting part, or at least pieces of this, are the node war loot shop that's being changed. They introduced some new items and things to this a few patches ago, but they've actually tweaked that quite a bit. And the item I want to talk about mostly is going to be these essences here. You can see you have this essence of glory and courage as well. And for certain node tiers, you can see you can get 3 or 2 depending on what tier node that you won for these. There's also other items available. You can see Kaffir stone bundles, Marnie's unstable fuel, the honorable chests there. You've got orange juice battlefield tiers, etc. From there, you can even get some massive pure magic. Now, originally, this was introduced with a time limit from the time that you won the node war that you could access the NPC. That has actually been adjusted now, so it's going to be available for the war merchant NPCs in Velia, Heidel, Calphion, Medea, Valencia, Kama Sylvia, Drigan, and Odalita from 11 p.m. to 9 p.m. the next day after the node war ends. So that was a tweak to how that shop's going to work. If you win the node on the day, you can use the loot shop at the highest node level you have. The items can be purchased at the loot shop, differ depending on the tier of nodes, which we covered, and are as follows in the shop. In the loot shop, all items will be rotated every specific cycle. However, it'll be composed of items that are meaningful to adventurers, as it is a loot obtained by the winning victory. So do note that 2 or 3 of these essence items for what I wanted to mention, the thing that I'm personally most looking forward to out of these is going to be these crystals that can be enhanced. I did mention it when they first announced these, but now we have a little bit better breakdown of the cost here. So essentially what you're going to be able to do is upgrade your Okrad or Alucus crystals. These are the crystals that drop in the Odalita regions. The Okrad one drops in Thornwood Forest, and Alucus drops at the golems. Each of them as an individual crystal, or when you create the crystal, rather similar to an Elcar, you have to take the item that drops and compile it together to make the crystal. So they each have an accuracy +3 bonus, and then the Okrad is a +5 monster damage, whereas Alucus is a +5 human damage with it, so a PvP and PvE variant. You can get these 10 Essence of Courage from it. Keep in mind they're 10 million apiece for an Essence of Courage, so 100 million there as you're a winning team for a node war. Along with that, and the purchase restrictions of 2 to 3, depending on what tier node you won at the time. But it'll take 10 of those, the crystal itself, 10 more magical shards, 100 blackstone weapons, and then you simple alchemy them together to get the crystal of honorable courage. What this is going to do is increase the damage type by 2. So instead of 5 monster or human damage, it's going to be +7. The accuracy does stay the same at 3. However, this does increase your attack speed +1%. And that's a percent, not an actual just attack speed stat. So we haven't seen this on a crystal prior. This is similar to if you used a lower tier stone and then switched to a Vel's Heart, your attack speed percentage that's there, or if you use one of the higher grade destruction stones or splendid alchemy stone and have an even higher attack speed than what the Vel's Heart bonus gives you. So we're going to have these options on the crystals that are available. They do slot into the Dandelion or the Awakening weapon slot for it, so we might see some real flexibility with what crystal builds are running moving forward between added PvP damage and PvE damage, or how people end up wanting to break that down. The attack speed percentage does seem like a pretty big deal. Now we do have numbers on what it's going to take to put those together. What we don't know for sure, though, is if these will be available to be listed on the marketplace or not. It doesn't actually note it in the notes here itself. Other than that, aside from NotTheWorst stuff, we have some QL and user interface changes. Nothing super crazy here or anything wild like that. They did note, if you guys were unaware, about the 2% critical damage that was taking place on the Blackstar weapon. Big and Shiny did do a test after some posts on the forums to confirm it, and they then addressed it after the community did notice this. The Blackstar main hand weapons were found to have a 2% crit damage on them that was not listed in the stats. They straight up said this was a mistake. They weren't originally planning on doing it. They also found some other mistakes with various items that are going to be addressed as well. So what they're going to do for this, instead of removing that 2% critical hit damage, they don't want Blackstar to be strictly better than Zarka or Often. In any way, they want them to be choices with give and take on it. So they're going to add that 2% crit damage to Zarka and Often as well to go along with it, rather than taking it off of the Blackstar. Kind of interesting. We're still seeing hidden stats. They do try to explain it in a way that this was just like complete accident and not supposed to be a hidden stat. But you know, it is what it is from there. Aside from that, there are some class changes that are listed to the global labs. The true changes that were happening is we see some pretty significant buffs to Nova, mostly Succession, although there are some tweaks with the Awakening build. The other classes, for the most part, just had skill fixes and sort of the normal tweaks that we see. I don't know for sure that these are going to go live on the next patch notes that are coming out. It might take an additional week before we see that because it's coming from the global labs, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and read the developer's note on this and take a look at a few of the skills. After the Nova update, we're checking the opinions of adventurers sent through the official website. In particular, recently, there have been many opinions on the Succession side, so we're focusing on that part. And the opinion that Axion gave the most was that Axion's absorb Nova's vitality, and most of the attack actions are long, making it difficult to cope with emergency situations. As a way to improve this, we've added a vitality recovery to order Frost of the Snow, a skill that's frequently used and relatively quick in motion so that it can be coped with. Second part is that while you're attacked and defending, you'll be pushed back a lot, making it difficult to do other actions. Therefore, we made more use of the image of Kratom, the largest shield type, and improved it so that Nova can stand firmly without being pushed back, even if it is attacked, if it's in the protected state of Kratom or Kutarum, supposed to be Kutarum's protection, just translation there. So something that was interesting to me on this note in particular, if you may not be aware, but if your class has a Q block already, obviously I played Dark Knight, if your class has a Q block, if you just tap Q and then like let it sit there so that you're in your Q block, like have mobs hit you or anything like that, you'll be pushed back while you're taking those attacks. I'm sure you've noticed it before. And also while you're being pushed back, you can't directly use a skill right away if you're in the animation of being pushed back. So you may have noticed that before on a Q block class if you're doing that. The thing is, there's always been a mechanic to circumvent that. You just hold the Q key down rather than tapping it to kind of toggle your block. And if you hold down the Q key, you get pushed back, but not really. You pretty much hold your ground, and you're also able to execute skills instantly, regardless of if you're being attacked or not. So that's always been the workaround for that. So it's a little bit weird that they've decided with Kutarum's protection that they're just going to automatically have that effect rather than holding the Q key. And that could be just because of the mechanics of Nova itself, especially with Succession, having certain skills put you in block stance. Maybe it just didn't flow as well as they wanted to for it, so they decided to just go ahead and do that. I wouldn't argue if they did it for every class, but I doubt that it'd be that way. As far as the actual buffs, we see that it does get some HP recovery in the Succession build. For it, just boosted a little bit. Icy Thorns picking up an additional 5 HP per hit on it, and Bitter Rain doing the same as well. A little bit of damage buffs as well across a few skills, but the biggest thing here is they list quite a few speed up as far as the animations. Is their kind of their big focus on it in general. So each of the skills improved as follows. You have each of your command skills. Command was also reduced from 6 to 5 seconds for it. The duration of the DP increase effects obtained from the guards when in succession has been increased from 5 seconds to 10 seconds for it. The opening skills, the attack of Axion of Thornwood Guards has been improved to activate more quickly, and you'll see that across the board. We'll kind of see how these implement and what changes this makes to Succession. I have to say, as amazing actually as Awakening's turning out to be PvE-wise after it's seen its number of tweaks, hopefully Succession can at least get within the same realm with it, because the trash per hour numbers are just drastically behind Awakening, making it pretty difficult for people that enjoy that Succession and pre-Awakening gameplay to be able to play it. But we'll see if these speed ups and damage buffs and things are going to help that out. out once these go live. That's it for the global labs and things that are going on now. Let me know in the comments below other things you guys are looking forward to, or what you think about the updates coming up here, and what are your thoughts on this more hidden stat stuff. Although I thought we were done with this years ago, from now I'd like to hear your opinion on that sort of thing being discovered, and more specifically that it's discovered by the community and not brought up by the developers in the first place. I'd like to know your thoughts. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you get notifications when new videos do go live. And if you'd like to catch me playing live, there is a link to my Twitch page in the description below. You can go ahead and jump on over there, drop a follow so you get notifications for that as well. With that said, that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.